Hello, guys. Welcome to the show. It's Retro Nerd Girl right here, broadcasting live from the International Science Fiction Space Station. Good morning. Good morning. Today we are going to be looking at a movie on Netflix called Leave the World Behind. I recently watched it and I'm going to give you my opinion on it. We also have headlines. I didn't get to do headlines last week and I had some good ones. There may be a few late coming ones that I'm going to share with you guys today. But yeah, we're definitely going to get to headlines this week. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. First up, we've got Unicorn Rampant Studio strong this morning. Says, good morning. It's a nice, crispy autumn day in the middle of winter. Oh, wow. You guys are so lucky. It's 19 degrees here and it's cold. But I will say no snow. So that's good. That means the roads are great and that means no ice on the ground. So we're not doing too bad, not too bad. But that sounds great. Autumn day in winter. That sounds fantastic. And winter, William Blake Hall says, Pittsburgh is in the house. Yes, you guys are here. Uh, Wonderful to see you guys this morning. I hope you're enjoying 2024 so far. And Keith E is also in the house representing from Tennessee. It says it's nice and cool in Tennessee. That is awesome. And let's see. Um, and William Blake Hall says, I liked how Rita Moreno would yell, "Hey, you guys," to kick off the electric company. Yes, that's right. That was her. That is kind of wild. And she's kind of been there all of my life. Maybe all of our lives, right? Wow. Uh, and Keith E says, we had Captain Kangaroo and his carrots. Ooh. I remember watching the two girls that used to be on the swing and they used to have a mirror. I forgot what show that was. And they would read off all the names of the girls and boys, and I'd wait for them to say my name. And of course, they couldn't because my name is so weird. That's what I get. William Blake says, and the ever loving threat of ping pong balls. Oh, from Captain Kangaroo. And Keith E says, yes, I love the ping pong balls, but they never said Keith on Romper Room. Yes, Romper Room. And why didn't they say Keith? That's so. Oh, was it just not in fashion? Because there are certain names that are always in fashion. I would hear every single name. I'm like, oh yeah, I know all those kids from my school. That everybody's there, but they forgot me. And Keith E is letting me know that he can hear me just like it was 2024. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And William Blake Hall is saying loud and clear, hailing frequencies, retro. The ISFSS is looking fine. Thank you so much. You guys are so awesome. Um, and Keith E says, uh, Keith was a big name in 1957 and 58. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I must have came back because there's lots of Keiths walking around now too. So I don't know what was up with the romper room. They wouldn't say our name. I mean, for me, there's good reason, but I don't understand why they didn't say at least your name because, yeah, that didn't make sense. And well, we are done with the chat, and we are ready to dive right into the content, which is, ooh, it is this movie that is getting a lot of attention from all sides. It's a highly political film, and I don't know why. When I look at the film itself doesn't feel very political. Feels like your typical thriller movie with weird ending, weird kind of weird circumstances happening to these characters. But there have been both people to say, "Oh, this is the best thing ever. This is wonderful. Is it, please more of this." And then there are some people who are like, "This is complete trash. It's horrible. It's terrible. It'll rot your brain out. It'll poke your eye out, kid." Oh, hey, Trash Wonderful. How are you, Thrash? How are things going? Says, "Hey, cats and kittens." Meow. And Unicorn Man from Studio says, I love the cross marketing electric company with Spider-Man. Yes. Oh my goodness. I used to love that so much. I did. I used to love that so much. And I love that Spidey, that particular version of Spidey. Um, and how much of a mystery he was, but also how much you didn't get any Peter Parker in that, right? It was just Spidey, and just how cool he was, how spry he was, um, and how very physical that part was for the actor underneath the mask. It was really fun to watch him do his thing. I don't know, love that show. Um, And Keithy says, "Who left the door open?" And Thrash Panda Pun says, "I haven't seen it yet, but I had to stop by to say hi." Oh, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, it's really getting a lot of buzz, and a lot of people are talking about it from both aspects of hating the movie and loving the movie. So I said, well, this is one I think I need to like at least look at and see for myself who's what side I kind of fall on. And just generally, I think I fall somewhere in the middle. I usually always do. I'm empathic, empathetic or whatever. I feel very a lot of for a lot of different people and causes, and so I don't exactly like go towards one side or another on a lot of things. When it comes to movies, though, I'm very objective. I try to like look at it as a movie itself and not as any personal things that are going on. I try though; it's not always easy to do that. Kitty says, "Dash, did you make any money working Monday night?" I'm sure something. Oh, Thrash said we actually closed early. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, I think on the first people are usually just so wiped out, and they're just sleeping in late and catching up on getting a day off and so on and so forth. Um, yeah, and Unicorn says about the Spider-Man, he didn't say anything either. It was all through thought bubbles. Yes, 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 you're so right. He would just go, "Woo," and then there was like a thought bubble, which also meant that if you were a kid, you had to learn how to read in order to see those, to read those thought bubbles. So it was also teaching people to read. And Unicorn said he was very expressive. Yes. How cool was that show? How cool. There was one other show that I used to love. I forgot. It was it was a cartoon, and would play in one of these shows. I'm not sure if it was Electric Company, if it was um, or if it was Sesame Street, but it was a cartoon, and leap he would leap over the letter T. I don't know if you guys remember this character or the segment that they had. Um, I forgot the name of that character, but it was a cartoon superhero that could leap buildings, and the buildings were there was a T that he leapt over. Let me know if you guys remember that guy. um, and Judy says this is an all moderator chat. Is it? Wow, yeah, it sure is. Wow. It's so funny because I can't see the highlight for moderators, which makes no sense. But on this, but I can see it on my residual, my all auxiliary computer over here. But let's see. Keith says the two worst days in the hotel business to clean was January 1st and 15th. Oh, yes. I suppose for uh Valentine's Day. And William says love is messy. It sure is. And Unicorn says don't forget the great space coaster used to play some stuff. Great space coaster. I'm not sure if I ever saw that. I'll have to look that up. Let me see. Let me see really good. Let's take a quick detour, guys. I want to see the Great Space Coaster. The Great Space Coaster television show. Oh no, I never had that. No, I didn't. I never had that. I learn about these things all the time from you guys. Thank you for sharing that, Unicorn Rapids City. Yeah, I never saw that show. Oh, looking cool gamer is here. Hello. Thanks for stopping by. And and Thrash Pond says that indeed it was supposed to be to mirror Spider-Man in the Spider-Man comic. Loved the bit when the villain's weapons had dad jokes. Oh yeah, yeah, for Spider-Man. And I always could identify with when he said his spidey senses were tingling. I was like, yeah, mine does that too. I get spidey senses. I'm like, something isn't right here. And yeah, and and uh Thrash Panda Pond said, I loved Easy Rider too. Oh yeah. I didn't Easy Easy Reader. I didn't get that, that's for sure. Easy Reader. Cool. I'm learning about new TV shows. Emily Blake Hall says Morgan Freeman doesn't talk about Easy Reader. It seems a shame. Oh, he doesn't. Does he like say that he doesn't want to talk about it? Maybe it's just too painful for him. Maybe he was mistreated. Um, and Keith E says my flock is everywhere. Everybody's a moderator is pretty funny. And Dashbound Bonds says I was working night audit at a hotel years ago. A young couple called down to complain about the noise at 11:30, and were made I wouldn't try to stop it. Oh. Oh my goodness. And Thrash Pun says Easy Reader was also an electric company sketch. Oh, maybe I did know it then. Maybe I just don't remember the name of it. Um, you said with Morgan Freeman. Oh, sure. I'm sure my brain will jog. I'll jog my brain if I saw it. Um, and and sorry, that was mad. No problem. Yeah. And yeah, let's start the conversation about this movie. I'm not gonna get into every single like detail spoiler about this movie. So even if I explain stuff to you, you'd probably need to see it to really get the full effect. But my general thoughts about the movie, just to get started with things, let me give you Leave the World Behind, um, is that I liked it. I didn't enjoy it, and that's just me. That's just me. Um, I did enjoy the filmmaking. I enjoyed the filmmaking. I'm a filmmaking kind of I like the nerdy stuff about films, how it's made, the cinematography, the setup, the edits. I love all that stuff. That's the stuff I love. I love that stuff. And I did enjoy all those little things. I enjoyed what the film had to offer as far as that. I wasn't really in love with a few things like the order, or maybe even I wouldn't say it's the editing. I guess this isn't really my wheelhouse of movies that I absolutely love. There's some thrillers that I love. And this is really under the thriller category, disaster thriller, if you will, if that's a category, disaster thriller, because it does kind of go off into like almost a horror story or like horror movie kind of thing, but the characters don't actually like you don't see anything graphic. There's maybe one or two graphic moments or moments of violence. Just to let you give everybody a heads up though, this particular movie is rated R. and it is so it may not be suitable for kids to listen to any of the comments that I'm going to mention because some of it could be disturbing and also like kids um, uh, I would say if you have your kids watch it, have them be a little bit older to be able to understand what's going on. There's a lot of cursing in this movie too. There, oh my goodness, such potty mouths. And let me see if I can call up a little bit of information about the movie, just in general, for you. Leave the World Behind, 2003, rated R. It's 2 hours and 18 minutes. The director is Sam Esmail, and he was really famous for being the showrunner of the Mr. Robot TV show. I did not see that show, but a lot of people did love Mr. Robot, and so his claim to fame is that he has not done any big productions. That's about the most famous production he's taken part in, but he's well known in the industry. The list of stars in this particular film and some of the producers and people to that effect are very well known, and so people are very much interested in this movie because of all of these famous people attached to this film. And I think that the production level of this movie lives up to that. It really does. It was written. Uh, it is basically an adaptation of a book by Ruman Alam by the same name of the same name, Leave the World Behind. I believe that there are some subtle changes from the book to the movie, and um, and that's usually the case. Sam Esmail wrote the script for it. Let me give you guys. Let's see if I can. Let me just keep going. So it stars Julia Roberts as Amanda Sanford. Mahershala Ali is in this, and he's playing George H. Scott. And or sometimes they just call him GH. And Ethan Hawke is in this. He plays the wife to the Julia Roberts character, Amanda Sanford. His name is Clay Sanford. We have a lot of young actors in this, and they do very well. We've got um, Mahershala Ali's character's daughter is played by Mahala, and she only goes by one Mahala, which is I think is cute, and she's a pretty decent actress. The other two newcomers are for Farrah Mackenzie playing Rose Sanford, the littlest child, and the oldest child in the Sanford family is Charlie Evans. Um, and the other well-known actor in this is Kevin Bacon. So um, very cool to see Kevin Bacon and Ethan Hawke in a movie together because they kind of resemble each other or have been mixed up for each other quite a few times, and it's quite interesting. Let's see. Right. So we got that out of the way. I wanted to at least introduce the players to get you kind of interested in, to bring you into the the movie. It starts off with Amanda Sanford in her New York apartment. This New York apartment is so typical New York apartment. It's got like the walls aren't perfect, and she's managed to paint all of her doors and her rooms blue in this bright, like a deep sea blue kind of color. And I suppose there's a lot of blue represented throughout the film. and usually blue is about coldness and and that's those sort of feelings. But I believe in this particular aspect, it's used to denote happiness, like blue skies, sort of like that. So each movie, you can get all of these different meanings for the use of color, and they do use color throughout this story. And a lot of things that you think are upfront, like the characters and the players of the story, a lot of the stuff in the background is really working. They're working that background. They are stuffing it full of information and things that maybe never comes up in the story, but is sort of influencing a lot of the talk that is happening online. And yeah, we're inspired to look at that background. Uh, and I do enjoy that kind of thing where you're you see a scene, but inside the scene, within the background and the setting, there are lots of little Easter eggs for you to pick out and decipher, either for yourself or um, you know just something to tell you about the characters, or maybe something that you've noticed about the story. So I do love all that. And let's see, you guys are having a wonderful uh, conversation uh, there. I'll let you guys keep going. Uh, oh, wow. Give me a moment. I'm having an attack. Just a allergy issue. Hold on, please. All right, I'm back. Let me just have a sip of my coffee. Mm, mm. All right, there we go. Coffee break. And yeah, so Amanda wakes up one day and these guys have sort of a weekend, and she says, "You know what? I I I think we need to get out of the city and go somewhere." It just happens, and she packs everybody's bags for them, which I think is really wild. Like, she just makes the decision. She's the one who takes charge. She doesn't even ask or consult her husband. She doesn't ask the kids how they feel. We're all going out of town this weekend, and she makes these arrangements to stay at a house that and that is her starting point. But right away, and which I thought was very interesting, instead of letting us find out later on, she admits that she hates people, and that kind of sets up her character as a bad person, right? She hates people, and the way she says it and everything, she says she hates people. Um, and it's coming from this actress that we've kind of known all of our lives as sort of a sweet lady or cute um, individual. I just have never seen a movie where she plays a nasty, and she really is a nasty piece of work here, but she's not the nastiest piece of work. So she does indeed hate people. She doesn't trust them. She doesn't like them. So the events later on in the film, uh, a lot of people are reading into some of the stuff that's happening, and which I don't think is absolutely obvious. And we'll when we get there, I'll explain why. And this is a very important detail about her character, is that she hates people, and the movie makes sure that we know about it right away. And so there's Julia Roberts trying to be hateful, and I'm like, it's you, Julia, we know you. But it was she did a fantastic job, though. She did a fantastic job. And, yeah, so she's the if you can say if that there is a main character in this, she can be considered the main character, but it isn't really I could get like once the story gets going, it starts being about other people. So just to, give you a heads up on that. Um, Starts off they're on their way to this house, and I'll just say the kids in this movie, all of them, they're just horrible. Okay. No training, kids that are uh unresponsive. They're they're just the worst. They're the worst kids ever. I mean, they don't cause trouble, if you will. Like they don't they're not um evil kids. They're just out to lunch. They're just not involved with the family. They're doing their own thing. The son is talking to girls online. The little girl is obsessed with the TV show Friends, and she wants to see all of the episodes of Friends. And so that's what she's doing. She's watching her shows, and it is kind of interesting how they don't really have an interaction with the family. Doesn't They love each other, but they don't really have a connection. It's very much like, yeah, mom's taking us on another trip. The father is is barely there. He's just like, yeah, whatever you want, honey. And it's really poor guy is just not really um maybe like a strong figure there. Every once in a while, he'll step up and he'll say, "I'll take care of this," but it's only because he wants to keep his wife happy, and so she's the centerpiece of this whole thing, the cause and the centerpiece. I don't know. She has great instincts to leave the city, and I'll tell you why later. Keithy says, "Oh, okay, you guys are talking amongst yourselves. Sorry, I keep doing this, interrupting your talks." um, uh, and just yeah, just let me know when you guys are want to talk about this. Um, in One of the things that they do when they get there, this is a wonderful house. She loves that house. She really does. She really enjoys the house, um, and is really like feeling like what a great vacation this is for the kids. They're on the pool, they're enjoying themselves, they're having fun. It's all working out to her plan, and her husband's liking it too. He's enjoying himself, feeling the groove. It's great. She goes into town to get some things, but she notices this character whose name is Danny. He's a contractor on this particular plot of land, where all these people, well-to-do people, have a lot of money, and they like make these like mini mansions out in the middle of nowhere. So this is a lifestyle I know nothing about. That people can have like second homes and so on and so forth in the summer somewhere, um, in the country where they can connect with each other, and then come back to the city and cause hell. Come back to the city and cause hell. So yeah, it's really quite interesting. She notices that he is packing up lots of water bottles, and he is believe has a whole bunch of canned goods that he's just stocking up on. And she's like, what's going on here? And he looks at her like, "Yeah, whatever, lady." So I do love this character in the movie. I really wish there was more of him. I bet he could have really explained a lot more of what was going on. So that's kind of one desire I had of the movie, was that Kevin Bacon could have been there to tell us what he knew and tell us a little bit more of his mindset, which was really kind of cool. Um, and Taylor Swift, greater than Disney Star Wars, is here, and MCU is here, and we got some really cool emojis. We got movies, retro TV, popcorn, movies. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love seeing them, and so thank you so much for these wonderful emojis. I hope you're having a great day and enjoying 2024 so far. Uh, we're in day 3 and we're doing good so far, right? um, and yeah, there's a lot of secret symbols of things in the background, but we're not going to talk about that right now. I want to just deal with the main front story because I think that's actually like really good. But for deeper dives of all of the conspiracy theories and all of the theories behind the little details, I'm not going to get into it too much here, unless it's talking about the 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 storyline that's actually presented in the film, and the um, if anything is affecting that, and that may be in the background. And there's quite a few. There's a lot of like hidden nuggets of every corner. So I do applaud them for doing something like that. Okay, so the first weird thing is that they are like, yeah, let's go to the beach. They go to the beach, and then this oil tanker washes up on shore. And this oil tanker, that the excuse that's given is that the navigational um, uh, directions was off, and so a lot of these sorry. He says, I feel like I'm in 5th grade and I didn't do the homework assignment. Oh, well, sorry. So sorry. I am really sorry about that. I'll try to be more descriptive and more, trying to be more explain it better. Gamer Trojan. Hello, so good to see you this morning. Says hi, Retro Nerd Girl. Nice summary of the film so far. I happened to watch over the Christmas period. I won't say any more in case of spoilers. Yeah, well, this is a spoiler talk. We can talk about that, but I would say once we get to the spoiler that you want to talk about, let's dive in for sure, because it is kind of a very fascinating movie, and when you look at it on the surface, the deeper stuff, I always say is like, that's for anyone who wants to do deep dives on that. They are welcome to, but I'm just going to talk about the surface of the movie. So yeah, well, it's a strange event. Like, this oil tanker just washes up on shore, and they've been having a lot of these things happen, and so and how it just sort of kind of happens all of a sudden. So it makes it sort of something that you wonder about, but you're like, okay, well, let's keep going with our day. They keep going with their day, and they go back home. This weird thing happens that the kids see all of these deer in the woods gather around the house, and so they're trying to figure out what's going on. Why are they gathering around the house? And what's going on? It's interesting. You have all these weird events that are happening. No idea what they mean. None whatsoever. And the we may not ever know. So is also the other piece of it. And Gamer Trojan says, I found it to be very like The Happening, and I never saw that movie. I it was I kind of figured it was one of those like global, like, weird things are happening kind of movie, and so I missed it. Um, but that's kind of, if if that is what the movie is like, it would say, yeah, that's what's happening here. All these weird coincidences are happening, and then the characters are trying to come up with conclusions as to what is going on. But that's the first two things: the oil tanker and the deer. And nobody's telling each other anything. The kids don't say anything to the parents about what they saw. They keep it to themselves. And so that's kind of like, okay, we might want to share that with that mom and dad, that the entire house is being surrounded by deer. But at least tell them about it. They did not. At least I don't remember seeing that kind of a scene. The everything seems to be going well until a man and his daughter show up at their door and say, "Hey, we're the actual owners of this place, and can you please let us in?" And of course, there's a lot of trepidation about letting them in. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, they wouldn't let them in because they were black. And to be very honest, in this particular situation, if you're in the middle of nowhere, this would be a very scary situation to have someone, even if it was the owner of the place, you bought it for a certain amount of time, to come and say, "Hey, look, there's some kind of weird thing happening, and we need to hunker down in our own home." And so you'd be a little scared, like, "Wait a minute, that wasn't the agreement that we had." So to their benefit, I did sense that that was something to take a look at. A lot of people are just blowing it way out of proportion in my idea, but if some stranger comes to you and says, "Yeah, yeah, I own this house, and you're in." They've never seen them before. At one point, they asked to see some ID, and of course, the father does not have any ID, and of course, the characters don't think to ask the daughter for ID. A few points taken away for common sense, but here is where we're getting this sort of setup that it's um this these two families that are kind of um opposing each other. It's the Sanfords against the Scotts. And like, okay, we own this house. Okay, we told you that something weird is happening. We tried to get into the city. All the power went out. It was scary, and we came back here. We just need to camp out in the basement so you can have reign over the entire place. And finally, they said, okay, we'll let you do that. And that's pretty cool. They do let them stay at their own house. But yes, there's still skeptical feelings because here, like, that wasn't part of the plan. That was not part of the plan. And I think a lot of people aren't taking that into consideration. There are a lot of people with scams out there, tricky situations, and they get people taken away to vulnerable states and then take advantage of them or hurt them. And so this is very, very, um, uh, you know, uh, very, very realistic for me, as far as like the reason why this family wouldn't just jump at, like, "Oh yeah, come on in," and be like, let's just all, kumbaya. But one thing that is definitely interesting about this whole thing, these guys have like a wine area that's locked up. And so the man, the George, has the key to a lot of the stuff that's around the house. And so here's where it does get a little weird, is where the lady is like, well, maybe they work for the house, and this is part of, or they work for the owners of the house, and they are, um, you know, setting up a scam or something, or they're here to take advantage of us, even though they gave them $1,000 in cash. It's like, okay, at that point, after you get the money and you did allow them to stay in the home. Yes, you can be very concerned, look out for your kids and stuff like that. But at this point, to associate because that they're there, that they must work um, for the owners is a little bit much. But they were like leaning into it in the story, and I was like, is that realistic? But who knows? Keith E says, "Gamer, it would be great if you put some comments in about this since you're pretty. All of us are pretty clueless." And Gamer Comply says, "Yes, that is Hollywood trope. No one says anything important to the others. My son would never stop speaking about something like a deer." Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that should have been like the first thing. Dad, Mom, Dad, we saw deer in the woods. We found a shack in the woods. They also found the shack in the woods, and they don't mention this until like halfway through the movie. It's like, oh, yeah. And Gamer says, "You would you like me to compare it more to The Happening? Kind of have to reveal the ending plot to do that." That picture though, ones outside look very presented. It's their house. Unfortunately, an Irish person. I found the reluctance very weird. Um, Yeah, I don't know anything about The Happening. Yeah, not aware of The Happening at all. Okay, so um, they're kind of these guys are like kind of uh misplaced, because they're like, okay, well, we're in our own house, but we're staying in the basement. Like, what's going on with this? Can we just kick them out? The young lady is here. The daughter is not a likable individual. She has a potty mouth and she's very disrespectful to like everyone. She's got an attitude. It's just really I don't know. I mean, she's not the only one. The other two kids they also have an attitude and they also don't want to talk to any at least she talks. The other ones don't talk like she like every 5 minutes says a curse word. Um and it's sometimes inappropriate. Which doesn't make me like her character very much. And I think uh, it does this story a little bit of a disservice to keep putting her in that kind of position. But yeah, they do deserve to enjoy their own house, but they did make that deal, and they did make that deal when they made that deal, and now they have to stick with it. They did invite these people for the house to enjoy the house for the entire weekend, and that was the deal. So the thing is, things are starting to break down. No internet access, no contact. The rest of the world is sort of a blank. Nobody can get on their phones. Nobody can use. Nothing is on television except for a blue screen, and that's what's reflected back on them on this picture. And so it is very, very scary. They don't know what to do. It feels like the world is ending. They're like, how do we reach other people? How do we talk to other people? And they just can't, I think maybe 30 years ago, we'd probably access more radio contact, but even here, there's nobody's prepared for this at all. Like, what do you do when the internet goes down? What do you do if there's a blackout for more than a day? What do you do? So the one thing that's constant here, in which I was like, okay, so everybody still has power. They still have electricity. They just don't have access to any Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So that's the other thing. So the other piece was like where I guess there's a situation with the satellites, so they can't even reach people with the use of any satellite um, connection. So that is one other piece to the whole thing. Mhm. Um, Gamer Trojan says the cursing is normal for teens and younger here. LOL. It seems yours seem better. Um, no, 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 no. Yeah, it is normal, I suppose, for teens. Usually, when teens are talking to them amongst themselves, right? I mean, come on. I had the mouth of a sailor when I was with my friends, but usually when I was around adults, I tried to keep it rein it in, um, and not be, you know, I tried to be a little bit more respectful. There and I'm not sure if if like I even to this day I wouldn't curse in front of my mom. I mean, I don't think she would be upset if I did. I think I slipped up a couple of times. She was fine with it, but I just don't feel like uh I think it's a little I don't know, maybe I'm old school like that. But it's not the cursing, it's the stuff that the things that they're saying in general. It's like it's like a lot of it has got like a nasty attitude towards everything and kind of was like looking for something good. The best kid, I suppose, is the very littlest one. Um, she's maybe the purest, but even then is just sort of like I didn't feel connected to her as much. And the Gametronogen says, I think the removal of the always online was a good choice. My son is at a great loss without the internet, whereas I am just fine since I predated. LOL. Yes. Yeah. I mean, and that's why it's great to have books handy or comic books handy, or if you are the kind of person who likes visuals along with your words. I have great comic books to look at, and if you know it's great to keep that handy. I even we have sometimes we have blackouts. I have a light that I like, emergency lights and things like that. So you can never go without the emergencies. You always need to have little things for emergencies, especially when the power goes out or the internet goes down for a couple hours. And Gamer Trojan says, this shows the dependency many have these days and adds to the tension. Yes, I did love that. And one thing that this movie has in a great supply is tension, because with all of these weird things happening, we also have music that accompanies it that's eerie and disturbing and gives you the feeling of like dread and oh my goodness, what's gonna happen, what's happening. It's very panic feeling, but not in a bad way. It's definitely in a way where you're curious. um the other thing is that they have an interesting choice of music. One of the music styles, right at the beginning, they have it starts off with this kind of like hip hop um, opening credits, and very unique kind of visual um, uh, opening credits that they have going on there. But then the one of the scene in which the family is going into the new house, or driving up to the new house, they play one of my favorite songs is Misled by Kool and the Gang. I love that song. I don't know how many times I plus pressed replay on that song. I love it, loved it. Love the video because it's sort of like a Cinderella story kind of video. I love it, guys. If you go on the internet and find that video, it's so cool. A nice throwback video, and I love the words to the song and everything. So it one of the things I think these guys, what they were saying, of course, is that this family or the way of thought that they have embraced is, they are misled, and so they're uh, uh, arriving to this house is is kind of interesting that they would choose that song. Um, and there's a whole bunch of interesting other songs they do use. So it's like a variety of hip hop and R&B, and there's this dance scene later on with um, Julia Roberts and Mahershala Ali's characters, and it is awkward and weird, but it's all done towards an R&B song, I believe from the early '90s, or maybe it's '89, but it's really um, just a mix. It's just a mix of so many strange things, and I think that's one of the things I do love about the filmmaking. Gamer Trojan says the youngest is most affected as she is desperate for the friend's conclusion, and that was the better part of the ending. She finds something that helps. Yes, part of me is likes that ending, and also part of me hates that ending as well. Um, but part of me also, um, yes, no, I both love and hate that ending. And I'll explain. I'll kind of explain why once we get there. And so yeah, there's a lot of tension between the families, but they decide the next day to split up and do different things. And so the dad is like, I'm going to make this right. I'm going to go into town and find out what's going on. And I'm going to, take charge here and do something productive. He tries to go into town, but there's no GPS, which we're dependent on, right? Everybody's dependent on GPS. So he has fallen victim to, like, okay, I don't know where I am, I don't have any maps of the area, and he's gotten himself lost. Well, as he's getting lost, he bumps into this lady who's on the road, and she only speaks Spanish, and she's like yelling at him in Spanish. Now, the translation to the things that she um, is saying are things that they're probably gonna, converge and learn about later. But because he doesn't know Spanish, he doesn't, he's like, "Oh, well, what's going on?" But not only that, she is panicked, and, um, God bless this actress, she's incredible. Let me just see if I can find her name here. She is Vanessa Aspaguia. Uh, Vanessa is acting her behind off because, the pure terror in her eyes, the pure terror in her eyes is just mesmerizing. And you're like, what the heck did she see? And all she's saying is that she saw some red pamphlets in the sky. She's glad to see him. She's been on the road, on her own for a while, and she's trying to get him to take her somewhere to be safe. And he's so panicked by her that he just turns and drives away. Drives away. He's like, "What? I'm not even dealing with this." And the look on his face is just priceless. You're like, "Oh, snap." And it is a face I've seen many times. People have been asked, you can ask somebody for help, and they're like, I don't want to even get involved with this. I don't want to know how bad it is. I don't want to know how bad it is. I can't help you. And I think it would have been different if she had offered to help him, right? He would have been like, oh, yeah, get in the car. And Gamer Trojan says, "Oh no, I hate it too, but there are some good parts." Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're good. They're good parts. No, when I say I hate something, doesn't mean that it's not good. Let's get that. Let's get that sort of way. And also, if I say I like something, doesn't mean that it's good either. That's that. liking something doesn't mean whether it's good or not. Yeah, it is. I would say good filmmaking. They're doing excellent job here, and it's a great study for anyone who is a filmmaker wanting to see how to make a good eerie film, how to set up a movie where you've got all of these weird circumstances. It reminds me of M. Night Shyamalan when he was at at the height of his powers. So that kind of gives you that feeling. Um, and oh look, the Outcast Creative is here. Yay, Retro. I really enjoyed this movie. Oh, awesome. Yes, I did too, I didn't enjoy it in a way where I'm gonna see this again really soon. But I did appreciate everything in it. I really liked it. I really liked it. Let's put it like that. I liked it. And Gamer says, GPS. I still use paper maps. Good, good, good. Yes. And this movie emphasizes the need for physical things, for physical tools. It emphasizes the need for, at the very end, the need for physical media, because all this time she's been streaming Friends. She's been streaming Friends, and only when she gets her hands on the physical copy, she's able to see, what it is that she's been desiring this whole time. And hopefully, I'm not talking too abstractly, but the little girl in the movie um, is um, is obsessed with Friends, the TV show, and at the very end, she gets to see the last episode, but it's only through getting her hands on that physical media, and that to me is like, wow, that's telling us a lot about streaming. It's a great tool. We can do a lot with it, but you still need your own physical copy in case all of this stuff goes down. Maybe we won't have access to streaming, Wi-Fi or any of that stuff, but maybe we'll have access to electricity and be able to turn on a device or two and turn and watch a show. So um, that is very important. And yes, and back to the maps. Like if he had a map in his glove compartment, he could have easily find where he was, instead of getting lost. And Gamer Trojan says, I did not like the husband character, not someone to rely on in trouble. Well, I think at the end he kind of steps up a little bit, but man, yeah, uh, he just let too many things happen without being, he was just, yeah, not a likable character. Not, I don't think any of the characters were really truly like super likable. They were like okay characters, and then there were really characters you just didn't like. But and at the end they kind of all blended into one, like okay characters. Um, so um, and Keith E says, as a child I had all the state's maps from the ESSO gas station down the street. Oh, that's cool. Did you memorize them? When you're a kid, you do like wild things, like memorize things like that. But that's cool because if you have a map, you can at least get around. You can figure things out. You know how to get around. You know how to get from place to place. And Game Joe says, keep them, Keith. Roads don't change that much, and some idea is better than none. Yeah. And Keith E says, I have a full copy of The Fifth Element until midnight on Sunday. Then it went away in my computer. Yeah. And unfortunately, yeah, that's the whole thing about, the uh, streaming. You have it for a little bit and you got to, if you rent it or whatever. But some of the streamers, they have you rent stuff and you can only watch it once, which I think is ridiculous. And William Blake Hall says, I had to step away from the monitor when my nurse showed up. Oh, I hope you're okay. But I heard was the eerie music. Yeah, there's lots of eerie music in here. It's really great. It just really sets the mood for things. So George Scott decides to go out on his own too, and he encounters. He goes to the neighbor's house, which is on the beach, and the neighbor's house it's gorgeous, right? It's beautiful, but behind the neighbor's house on the beach are not car crashes, but plane crashes that have been just like happening. There's a lot of them that he sees, and there's like bodies everywhere he can see, and it's really kind of wild to him. He's like, what's going on, until he sees a plane fly out of the sky and crash right at the beach, and he barely survives this. He gets all wet, and yeah, it's really one of the most terrifying moments in the story. And it's all done. The camera work, as you can see, it's a Dutch angle on this frame, but it was the camera was moving all over the place to create this disorientation, which is a classic in filmmaking. Just everything felt like it wasn't. You couldn't quite get a grasp of everything. It was just so the movement really felt like Vertigo. Remember that movie Vertigo, and that scene with the airplane. This is like another version of it, a modern version of that scene. It was very, very intense, and I I thought it was interesting. I was like, okay, the planes are coming down, the oil tankers are washing up on shore, the deer are acting weird, there's no internet, nobody can reach each other. These little things are adding up and building up until to something, right? We're hoping. And Gamer Trojan says, I've always had a love for maps. The older the better. Even had an old copy of a USA road map in the networks between main cities and places names from Hollywood movies were curious to find. Oh, cool. And William Blake Hall says, I closely watched Crash. Reminds me a bit of the end of the world, knowing I love maps too. And William Blake Hall, the end of the world movie, knowing. Okay, yeah, these are movies I don't see because that's totally out of my wheelhouse. The disaster movies. they're they're I know that it's a whole genre, and yeah, I tend to stay away from those because uh, I do get nightmares sometimes about stuff like that, and this is only adding fuel to the fire. And look, Danny Staten is here. Greetings from South Carolina. Great to see you, Danny. And happy holidays to all. Happy holidays to you as well. Happy New Year as well. And Gamer Trojan says, I thought this scene was a bit forced. He was at his neighbor's house and then he had not seen or heard a crash earlier at this. Well, see, that's another thing is that they only let you hear a crash at the house only one time, instead of it being like a constant thing and creating this buildup of fear. Like, where's that coming from? Where's that sound coming from? Is it bombs? What's going on? Like that, if I was in charge of this project, I would have added that to the suspense of what was going on. So prior to this happening, give us a buildup of these things happening and then pay it off with this scene. That's the thing that we're not getting, is the setup and the payoff for this. There's other moments where there's setup and payoff, but not for this scene. I agree with you 100%, Gamer Trojan. And Uh, the Outcast creator says, uh, what even the towering inferno? Um, the towering. I think I've seen the towering inferno once, just once. Not my kind of movie, but yeah, it is pretty awful. I mean, well, it's pretty good, but it's awful circumstances. It was a decent. I mean, I I thought it was well made. And Trojan Gamer Trojan says, I really love all apocalypse type movies since I was a kid. Oh, really? Wow. I blame the Cold War. It was a definite influence. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think I've maybe have seen too many, and so I'm just kind of like, "Oh, no." Uh, I want some fantasy in my fantasy. And so, yeah, these guys are finally, at some place in the middle, starting to converge and talk to each other after holding all of these kind of secrets of what's going on to each other. They won't tell each other what's happening, all the weird stuff that's going on. They're just ignoring it, and not speaking to each other. Finally, they do kind of converge on it. Um, and the Outcast Creative says, "Have you seen the trailer for Civil War with Jesse Plemons?" Um, no. I'm like the lady from American Dad. No, no. Yeah, definitely not my kind of thing. He says that film would almost be a sequel to this one. Interesting. Yes, because in the end, they kind of allude to Civil War being kind of the next step in this sort of takedown of America, but we haven't gotten there yet. I don't want to confuse the people who are not quite versed in the movie just yet. And Gamer Children says, sincerely, do not look up a, and watch Threads UK movie from the 70s. It's probably the harshest post-nuclear. Ooh. Now I'm kind of curious. Threads. Uh, okay, creative system. We don't see this trailer. We don't clean. And William Blake Call says, I think Retro has seen Don't Look Up though. Yes, I did love Don't Look Up. I did love Don't Look Up. I did adore it. I did adore it. And it's even better now. It's even better now. Like, uh, at that movie, I actually saw several times. There, I guess it's not the end of the world movies that I don't like. I guess the ones that actually kind of scare me do are the ones that I don't like to watch very often. It's like, okay, that was the last time. That was it. And so, the Sanfords decide, okay, we're leaving. Okay, we're out of here. We're gonna go. Thanks for everything you've done. We're out. I'm gonna go to my sisters in New Jersey, and that would have been a fantastic plan. Would have worked, except for when they get to the main road to get there, they find that all of the Teslas from all of the lots have been crashing into uh, themselves. Oh, uh, I wonder. Yeah. Okay. So they find out that they've been crashing into themselves and creating blockages in major highways and roads, so you can't travel down those roads. I mean, this is really bad. This is really bad because if the roads are blocked, you cannot go anywhere. You can't. So you're stuck where you are, and so it's uh, the way to someone has programmed these vehicles to do this. So there has been some sort of intervention. There's no word as to exactly what the intervention could be, whether it's computer, whether it's a country or not. But here's the thing: they find, and here's one thing I'm missing, and we're jumping too far ahead. Um, there are these pamphlets that fall from the sky. Very scary looking the way they fall from the sky too. So there's this big like hoopla, like, oh, we got to get away from the red pamphlets, but we don't know it's red pamphlets because it looks like red dust. Maybe it's poison, and we don't know. You just don't know until you see that it's pamphlets and pick up the pamphlet, and it says it in some other country's language that that this is an invasion or this is a threat or whatever. It means nothing because they're so what? It doesn't really mean anything because they're isolated from everyone. They can't find reach anybody. So it's really terrible. Their situation's getting more and more dire by the minute. More and more dire by the minute. So they are forced to go back to the house. Gamer Trojan says that was mild and humorous and gave good point. Threads and similar just show harsh reality. Ooh, okay. And the Outcast Creator says the scene with all of the delivery driverless cars really creepy. Yeah, it's really creepy to see all the cars all lined up, but it also makes sense too to me as a creative kind of person. Like, yeah, that would be a great way to block the roads. And thanks for giving bad actors a great idea. Like movies, stop giving away all the terrifying ideas of the ways that that people can really get average people hurt. And so, yeah. And Gamer Trojan says the blocking of the roads was okay, but no walking, no looking for boats, not even a town. So I think that would be a great idea, right? And who knows? And maybe they were afraid to go into a boat. They didn't discuss it. They should have, but they're uh, um, from what they were saying was that there were airplanes that were flying that were crashing. Now, here's the other piece that really kind of gets me is that if the planes are all crashing, wouldn't they have been crashing all at one time? And it's just the timing of this seems to be crescendoing. So you take off in the plane, it crashes, and it allows yet another plane to come to take off and then crash. It's like some of those people that were on that beach had been there for a while, right? Like at least 24 hours. And so there weren't fresh kills. I mean, the guy's face is like pale white. That was found. So it's kind of weird to me to see that and just like I was trying to piece it all together. I wish that the writing was a little bit better, but the suspense is there, right? The suspense is the one that you really get. You really get the suspense. So I definitely love the suspense. As far as the minutia of the details could have been tweaked. Could be tweaked a little. Uh, but it's setting up this paranoia. Like, we don't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on. Can't reach anybody. Can't talk to anybody. There's no one to talk to. There's nobody who's, they found this secluded place that they were going to get away to, but it's so secluded that even once all of this stuff goes down, they really have not a place to go, and no one wants to talk to each other either. I mean, here's that lady on the road begging for somebody to help her, and she doesn't get any help. It's really awful. And when they get back to the home, there's, they're still enjoying the house. Um, a little, do some this awkward dancing scene, which is really funny. And these two actually connect, and they actually say, you're not a bad person. You're actually, it's kind of nice to not be um, enemies, and so they kind of bond, and it's nice. It's nice to see the characters getting along. Um, and one detail that I thought was really creative, and I actually really adored in this, is that there's a piece of art behind this bed of the sea, which is really pretty, a nice mural. And as the story goes on, that art piece gets more and more um, exciting, more violent, if you will, more. It goes even higher because of the level of anxiety and problems going on in the story. So it's very cool to see little pieces like that. It makes absolutely no sense logistically, right? Why is the art changing behind you? And like realistically, that doesn't make sense. But it was a nice touch to something that was it it, it kind of takes you like, oh, they're depicting how how intense everything is getting, tensions are rising, and also, but it's also like, yeah, that background can't change unless somebody was in there painting it and changing it a little bit more. And of course, the characters don't notice that the painting has changed. And so it's something just for us, for the viewer. It isn't for it has no, it's not actually really happening in the story. So it doesn't have any effect in the story. And there's a lot of things that happen in the backgrounds of a lot of this, a lot of little details, like I was saying before, that have nothing to do with the story, but is interesting that they're referencing them. And Gamer Trojan says planes could crash differently due to the fuel, but I think they're trying to show um, uh, damage from EMP damage from weapons that brings down electronics. Okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy it. I'll buy that for $1. And Gamer Trojan says that was Wasan impressive IP collection uh, for one so young. LOL. Um, oh, that was an impressive collection, LP collection for one so young. Yeah, it was a nice collection. Uh, Definitely admire all of all of these things. I think he said that it's a grouping of his own choices and his daughter's as well. So kind of it's a combined effort there. And the song that she picks is one that her his daughter picked. And the artist actually made a comment on Twitter. Says, exciting news to share. My painting, Hairline Cracks, is on Netflix new film, Leave the World Behind. Pay close attention to it throughout the film as it changes each time the mood intensifies. Yeah, great job. Um, Great art piece as well. And I did enjoy that aspect. So there's a lot of interesting uh, things in the background. And Gamer Trojan says, I never noticed that art piece. Well spotted. Yeah, it's really kind of a cool little detail. It, I mean, if you really wanted to get nerdy about it, you could dissect a lot of things that are going on. Like they repeat the number 1619 over and over and over again. Um, and that has like absolutely nothing to do with the story, but is a reference to slavery. And they mentioned 1776 quite a few times as well, which is when the country was founded. and lots of other things to do with American history stuffed to the gills in this movie. And I think that's cool, but that's not something I'm totally uh, loving about it. I'm more interested in the surface story, which has nothing to do with any of that, until maybe the end, until the end where they talk about that a little bit. And yeah, that was one of the creepier scenes. I wish they could have made that go a little bit longer. Um, I really do. I wish they could have made that a little bit longer. Um, and then there's this noise, this weird noise that keeps going off, and it's this loud, deafening noise. It kind of reminds me, and maybe they got this from a few different places, but 2001: A Space Odyssey had that horrible sound that emitted from the monoliths, and so this is sort of like that. And um, the first time it goes off doesn't seem to change anything. A few cracked areas, cracked glass here and there. The second time it goes off, there is a definite change. And oh look, Red Dwarf is here. This is a nice treat. The gorgeous nerd girl live while I'm at home having a sandwich. Oh, that's so nice of you. Hope you're having a great day and happy New Year as well. Um, let's see. And so the second time this happens, this young man here gets at some point earlier in the film, he gets bitten by a tick, and then when this noise appears, he his reaction. This is weird. So he has this. I think a lot of people have this reoccurring dream of uh, teeth falling out. It's a horrible nightmare that a lot of people experience. But in this film, they kind of do the same thing, except for I thought it was executed poorly. He gets up and he's like, "Oh, I'm feeling a little sick," and then he begins to yank his teeth out of his mouth. I mean, the first one is fine, but like he just keeps going in there, like, oh, my teeth. It's like, why, like, stop. It would have been much better for him to have gone and like says, "Oh, my teeth feel really funny." And like, "Oh, well, why don't you have some breakfast?" And like he has breakfast, and as he's eating, then it comes out. That's really more realistic. This was just played for like a horror, um, if you will, like, but it is also kind of wild, you know, kind of weird. It was kind of a weird scene, but also meant to make you gross you out, because a lot of people have this fear, and it is definitely a horrible thing to lose your teeth, especially as a young person. And Gamer Trojan says the teeth is a radiation damage sign. I think they were rushing. They were rushing that in. Yes, rushing is the proper term. It should have been a little bit more gradual and also more obvious what was going on, because everybody else was just fine. Um, they kind of said that, hey, maybe it was the tick, and that the noise sped up the possible Lyme disease, which there are many symptoms that for Lyme disease, but your teeth falling out is maybe something that does happen to some people, but I've not heard that necessarily. And so this one was kind of a I'm not sure I like this particular part of it. Everything else was a little bit more. So they decide to go to Danny's house because they know he's a contractor, and he was storing up some extras at the grocery store. So maybe he knew something, and they were like, "Well, he's got to have medicine. he's stocked up for this. And so they go to his house and they ask him for medicine, and he's like, "Nope, I don't have anything for you. I'm sorry, but um, I can't share my stuff with you." And they have to realize that, he was prepared. Maybe he was just prepared for enough for his family. And they're like, "No, we need this stuff. We need it. So we need it right now." And then it ends up being like a literal standoff between uh, George, who stands up in a big way for the Sanfords, and it pulls out a gun and it's like, "No, I'm not letting you go." It's like gun to gun in this man's property, and they were prepared to kill each other, and uh, barely able to do anything. The dad, Sanford, steps in and is like, "No, please, don't kill each other, please. You got to help me and my son." And so they do, help him. He does give him uh, some medicine, which I don't know if that's going to be enough, or if that can help him at all, or what it was. If anybody knows what that medicine was, please let me know, because I'm like, what is that? What kind of medicine was that? But some blue pills, if you know. And we had the reoccurrence of blue in the story. And you can also refer the blue pill back to the Matrix as well. So very interesting use of color here. Um, so the um, I thought that this is pretty much setting up what the premise of this is, or what the answer to what's going on. And after this whole ordeal, George um, says that he believes that there's a couple of things happening here that's leading up to um, the country kind of imploding in on itself and causing it to destroy itself. And he uses civil war as a way of doing that. And now, civil war is not something that is a good thing at all. It's something I hope never happens, because you have people killing their neighbors, and people or people, brother against brother. We shouldn't have that. But also, what kind of civil war is it? Like actual civil war, or is it like um, just like, what exactly are they talking about? So I think in this case they're talking about like full out, like complete destruction the of the of the country, and that this was something that was planned and set up and um, orchestrated, but by whom? And is it just America facing this? We've got people taking off in planes. Are they all American, or is it like international? We have no context for that. And there's still people online have said, well, maybe it isn't actually what the movie is saying. Maybe it's aliens. Maybe it's because there's like, what's going on with the animals? The animals seem to be getting some sort of programming. That noise as well is another thing that they're trying to figure out. And yeah, the deer at the very end, they all kind of group up, and they surround the George's daughter, the Scott's daughter, and she doesn't know what to do. She's just standing there like paralyzed, and uh, the Julia Roberts's character jumps in and, figures out a way to get them to go away by just yelling and screaming. So they're both like yelling and screaming. It's really hilarious. But she does something very heroic to save this young girl that she's been in opposition with pretty much in the entire movie. And so they bond by that. She saves her life. And I think at the end of this, we've got these two different families that actually come together as one cohesive family. They are taking care of each other at this point. They're standing up for each other and taking care of each other. So it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Where was I with the thing? I just kind of went off. I went off. And Gamer Trojan says, "It's cold outside. There's no kind of atmosphere." I always say that when it's like 0 degrees. It's like, "There's no temperature." So funny joke that I like saying. And, uh, let's see, guys are talking amongst each other. And, oh, yeah. Okay, I went back too far. I went back too far. We talked about the teeth. And Gamer Trojan says he struck me as a prepper, which has been proven right. Yes, he was right. He was right. His theories, um, just from being a little bit extra, it was completely right. And the thing is that if you're right, then how do you protect your stuff? How do you protect other people from coming to you like, hey, that guy knew something. Let's go find him. I'm sure that this family wasn't the only people who came to him for help. That he probably turned away because he just was like, I'm going to take care of my family and everybody else can go eat a he couldn't care less about anybody else. And it wasn't because he didn't care, but because I think he's just making sure his family got what they needed first. So him sharing his medication with others could lead somewhere down the line that maybe his daughter doesn't get the medical stuff that she needs if she got sick, right? Or if he got sick, he gave it away to somebody else. So these are life and death decisions. I like that. I like that. I like that. Dilemmas of moral fortitude. That's why I wanted to spend more time with this character. Right? I wanted to spend more time with Danny because he knew something, and also how is he dealing with the moral quandaries of like, hey, I got to take care of my family and everybody else. Tough luck. Yeah, and not knowing how long this thing was going to go on. So, but he does know about a family who has a bunker that he helped to build. And unfortunately, looks like the family did not make it to their own bunker, or maybe they're on the way. We don't know. Or maybe they went out to do something, but at the moment, it seems to be empty. And the little girl has taken it upon herself to. This is another piece that I wanted to share with you. The little girl has taken it upon herself to go out and explore. How she finds that house with the bunker, I don't know. But before we get to that, um, the two ladies are the Mama Sanford, Amanda Sanford, and the young girl. What was it? I forgot her name in the story. Her name is Ruth Scott, the daughter of George. are looking out into the skyline. They're finally united as a team, and they're hugging each other and holding each other. And then they they find the tracks for that the little girl has left to lead up to this house, and they happen to look out into the skyline and see that New York City is pretty much imploding in it on itself. It's just horrible, and they're like, "Wow, thank God we weren't there." All that stuff is going through their minds. Probably, this is the result of when a society goes down. Its cities are probably the first to get the worst of it, right? And Keith E says, "I'll be listening, not reading the chat for a few minutes." Okay. And Red Dwarf says, "I love when movies use animals properly to move character growth." Yeah, yeah. And I believe they did that in this with the deer. I just wish it was more uh, like they did set it up. They did set it up that these deer were coming close. I wish there wasn't a reason why that we could make sense of. They said that the migration patterns of all the animals were changing, but why were they so attracted to that house and those people? The Red Dwarf says, "In case of an oncoming apocalypse, I will be fully stocked on Jamaican baddies." What a great idea. Oh, man. And the Hash Bonabon says, "Got a split gang. Be seeing you. Thanks again, RNG." Oh, wow. Yes, great to see you. And have a wonderful day. Thanks for hanging out with us as much as you were able to. And Gamer Trojan says, "I must also bow out. It's evening dinner time here, and I'm the cook." Oh, wonderful! Oh, I wonder what you're making. Have a good day from Ireland. Catch you again. Oh, great to see you. Thank you for spending time with us, and have a great dinner. Enjoy yourself, and happy 2024. And yes, and thank you for all of your input on this story. Really great. Great stuff. And so really at the end we get to this incredible bunker with a whole bunch of stuff, and only the little girl is there because she's gone off on her own, which was not really pleased that that happened. I did not like the idea of a little girl going off on her own in the middle of an apocalypse and and acting on her own. It just was very um, gross to me. But she did, and she finds this house, and in the house is a bunker in the basement, and in that basement bunker is a wonderful like library of physical media, guys, physical media. And so she's like, "Wow, this is perfect. Where's my friends?" And so she finds the Friends episode that she was looking for, the very last one, and she's able to play it and enjoy it. And uh, she's she's happy. The rest of the world could just vanish. No, she could never see her family again. It doesn't matter. She is happy, and that's all that matters. And um, there's a couple things in this ending that I found very interesting. Um, they use the TV show Friends in a way to say something very subtle about all of this, is that maybe we should all try to get along a little bit better. We should make friends with each other. And so that's one message there. And also the other message to do with the psychology of the little girl, which I do love. I just wish they had built her into somebody who was a little bit more likable throughout the story. She is cute, and um she's adorable, but you know, there needed to be a little bit more um something a little bit more endearing about her in her deeds. And so I wanted a little bit more from her. But her psycho psychologically with all the stuff that she's dealing with the end of the world. Seeing friends is one thing that's normal for her. This is one thing that she can have, and she gets it. She gets it in the end. And so I do like that's one aspect of the ending that I do love. I love that. But it wasn't deaf on me that friends was the ultimate answer to all of this, that we should be making friends instead of enemies. Um, Oh, and look who's here. Skywalker the Jedi. Says, just watched this yesterday. Great timing. I see. LOL. Yes, great to see you here. I'm so glad you watched it last night. Yeah, let us know what your thoughts are on the film. Um, and if you liked it. I thought it was really well made, great suspense. It's not my kind of movie necessarily, not my kind of topic. I'm more of a sci-fi action or sci-fi fantasy kind of person, but I did love the tension in this. So yeah. Uh, and the night before last, I meant. Oh, okay. I love these. um, and yeah, it is pretty good. Now I did forgot to put a rating here. If I was gonna give this a rating, I'm gonna give it a 7.2. There were quite a bit of things that I felt could have been adjusted a little bit here and there, but on the most part, it's really, really entertainment. Really good filmmaking is included in here, right? Really great filmmaking, song choices, sometimes great, sometimes not so great. Or kind of weird. I wouldn't say not great, but weird. Um, glad to hear my favorite song, "Misled" by Kool and the Gang in there. But the soundtrack in general, nice eerie music to accompany everything, keeping the tension going in the story. Loved all that. But some of the characters are just mostly hateful characters that come together. They're not hateful, but they're not likable. They're not lovable. I didn't love any of the characters. So when the young boy is got his teeth falling out, I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel desperately sorry for him that he's sick, right? And I feel bad about that, but I don't, because he's not an awesome character. He only like actually participates in life only once, only um to say, hey, I know where, what this pamphlet says. That's it. And then otherwise he's not really involved with anything to do with his parents, or even trying to help out around the house. He's old enough too. So it's kind of weird. He just is sort of sitting there. Not no offense to the actor. The actor is doing a great job, and all of the actors are killing it. All of the, including that little girl. She's really doing a great job, which is not easy for youngsters to act, because it's not something that they should have to do. They should only have to be kids, but they were fantastic, I thought. So Skywalker says the production value was great. I can agree with that. Yes. And Skywalker the Jedi says Netflix is definitely stepping up the look and feel of their films lately. Yeah, really top notch quality. Um, I said I found some other really cool things in the story that I mentioned earlier. So if you want to see some other stuff that I said about the characters and stuff, check that out. But there's a there's a lot to be desired in a few moments here that I wish it would just had some tweaks. I would tweak the heck out of this if I can get my hands in there. But otherwise, the good stuff was all of the suspense. And like I say, this is really feels like M. Night Shyamalan in his heyday. Uh, and so yeah, I would give it a 7.2. Now, guys, to the box office this weekend. What happened this weekend at the box office? Well, Wonka is still at number one. This is the second week in a row. We've got Aquaman at number two, which is not bad. I mean, a lot of people were saying that Aquaman is going to tank so hard. And it's not doing it too bad. It's not number two. You got to give it some respect for that. So, you know, definitely. From what I've heard from people about Aquaman, some people love it and some people don't. Oh, Skywalker the Jedi. Did you see Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom? Do you have any insights on Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom? Uh, I haven't. You know, of course, I'm not I don't have access to um, a theater, but once it gets on streaming, I'll be the first so to see it. But I am curious about Aquaman. Some people say they love it. Some people they say they don't care too much for it. But I think that's the reason why it's still in number two is because there are some people who really do enjoy this, and they've been taking their families to see it. We got Migration at number three. Never heard of this movie or heard any kind of conversation about it. No reviews from Migration. So if anybody has heard of Migration, let me know. The Color Purple is doing semi well. We thought that this was going to be at least number two next to Wonka. Can't believe Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is beating out The Color Purple. That's blowing my mind right now. But maybe in a few weeks coming up, maybe more people will decide to go see it. I haven't really gotten too many reviews on that either. So we're just getting my ears out just to hear, like, well, what do people say about this one? We've got Anyone But You. This is one that I don't really know much about as well, and have not heard many people cover it. So number six, we've got Boys in the Boat. Another one that's just kind of come out of nowhere. A lot of these have been in the theaters for only 1 or 2 weeks, so it's really brand new. Iron Claw is at number seven. A lot of people love this movie. They really do. And so I'm really surprised that it's not higher up, and maybe because there's a lot of tears involved. A lot of people have said that they've actually cried during Iron Claw, so maybe people are like, "Well, let's wait. I don't want to have to cry in front of everyone in my theater." Ferrari, that's one that just came out this week. It starts at number eight. Hopefully, that'll go up a little bit higher. People have been raving about that movie. Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songs and Snakes is still on the charts. Wow. After 7 weeks, it's doing well. The Boy and the Heron also still holding on to the top 10 at number 8. I'm sorry, at number 10. Exactly at number 10. Godzilla Minus One is 11, so it just got knocked down, but people are still going to see that in theaters. Wow, wow, wow. What a ride for that film. Poor Things is one actually that has been getting also mixed reviews. Some people love it and some people just absolutely hate it. We're talking about really well-known critics, and so it's still holding on to at least the top 20 at number 12. And Trolls Band Together. This movie is the movie that could, and just don't. Again, I have not heard any word on this, and maybe it's just people taking their kids to go see a kiddie movie, and it has done well for itself, and much better than I expected it to, because I've heard absolutely nothing about whether it was good or not. So maybe that's a good sign. If a movie does not get any recommendation or critical pan, maybe that's a good thing for it in the box office. And Skywalker the Jedi says, "I'll definitely replay. I need to hear your full thoughts. From what I can tell, we may feel similarly about how this hit us. Yes, yes, yes. Um, and Skymarker says no Aquaman yet. Last was Godzilla -1. Oh, okay. Yes, the movie I've heard so much about. Hold on one second. I do have um to take care of these allergies. They're out of control at this very second. Give me a second while I deal with this. Here you go. That was such an accurate depiction of what was going on behind the scenes. Oh man. And Skywalker the Jedi says I might go today since you brought it up. LOL. Oh, cool, cool. Yeah, I want to know if this movie is truly terrible. I think there must be something entertaining about it. There's some people who are saying that they love it, and it would be interesting if Aquaman did some interesting numbers, and that might surprise people. I think that would be kind of a monkey wrench in a lot of people's plans. So I'm kind of secretly rooting for Aquaman to succeed, but um, I'm also curious as to hear, like, well, I'm actually curious as to see the movie, of course, but also um, understand what people are complaining about the movie too. I want to see why this movie isn't a hit. I do believe that the ending is a big sore spot for, and from what was described to me, I would agree that that's not the way to end the DCEU, but I'm still very curious. Red Dwarf says Migration is an animated movie. I have to go. Everyone in retro, Happy New Year. Oh, okay. Migration is an animated movie from Universal, huh? I want to know a little. I might have to look that up today to see about that. And Unicorn Rampant Studio says, "Sorry, I haven't been able to participate in this chat. Love apocalypse stuff. I don't love watching it. I just love the idea of that we have a different world now, and we all we know. Oh gosh, different world now. We all know nothing is the same. Oh yes, yes, and yeah, and I think that part is actually kind of interesting too, like how but they don't tell you in this particular story. They don't complete the mission, right? They kind of stop it just when you get the idea that yes, things are gonna change forever, and then boom, the story ends. The story ends very abruptly with a mysterious ending. You never know who really started this craziness. You never know why it started. You never know any details other than the blank has hit the fan. And so that's kind of like okay, and I was actually cool with that in a way. I felt as a storytelling element, it should have completed the circle a little bit for me. But also, I was like, the mystery of it could we I don't need a part two to know what happens, right? I hope they don't make a part two. And that's no hate to the movie or anything. It's just that it's not necessary. We can all live in a mystery of knowing of not knowing why these events happen, and just move on to the next conspiracy theory movie. And Grown Up It Says, I'm like 7 minutes behind. Sorry for that as well. Oh, no problem. Um, and Keithy says, let's hit the thumbs up button and be the first time you hit it in 2024. Yeah, for some people it will be the second time, right? Because of Mondays, um, the Mondays thing. Actually, for some people, it might be the third time because if they hit the like button after New Year's Eve night. So, um, but yeah, we need more likes to get this channel out there into the world. So, if you like what you're seeing, do hit the like button. And Keith E says the computer that runs my house says no one's here and dropped the temperature back to 61. Oh no, that's yikes. That's kind of a little chilly for me. That's a bit chilly. And yeah, so I'm kind of secretly rooting for to see what happens to Aquaman. I mean, what if Aquaman did well? What would you have to do? But also, um, I think there was a lot writing for Aquaman to not do well. Do you know what I mean? And I think it was specifically crafted so Optim, Aquaman did not do well, and I don't like when studios do things like that. So um, that's my conspiracy theory for today. But I'm bump headlines, guys. Headlines. The headlines for today are is going to be kind of wild. I've taken a lot of it from the platform now known as X, and I think it's kind of a great way to get the general gist of the story. I know that a lot of these articles go into more detail and stuff, but just the general thing. So Wonka dominates UK, Ireland box office. So it's doing really well overseas. And from what I heard about Wonka is that it's really a, a decent movie. It doesn't trump the first Wonka movie, but it is entertaining no less. That's what I hear. Also, Percy Jackson and the Olympians premiere to 13.3 million viewers. So it's been doing very well. My timeline on X has been just like people talking about it over and over and over again. And I like my subscription on YouTube. A lot of people talking about Percy. So it's a big deal. And I was going to try to check it out to see what it is. It is definitely a kids oriented TV show. It's not necessarily specifically for adults. It's definitely geared towards kids. So bear that in mind if you do decide you want to take a look at what everybody's talking about. But it is young adult entertainment. And of course, this is one of the saddest things we've heard last 2 weeks. That Parasite actor Lee SUN-KYUN has died at only 48 years old. I mean, the guy was so young, so young. Police have been looking for Lee after his family claimed he wrote a suicide note. Lee had recently been under police investigation for alleged illegal drug abuse. So that is truly sad that the circumstances led up to that, and definitely sad for his family to have to go through this during the holidays. And another one passing here of Anna Ophelia Margua, the voice of great grandmother Mama Coca, has sadly passed away at the age of 80. And I know a lot of people loved Coco, and definitely loved this character. So this is definitely sad news here. Keith E says on The Big Bang Theory, no one ever wanted to be Aquaman. They always wanted to be Raj. They always made Raj, the Indian guy, the Aquaman. Oh yeah. Um, Yeah, that was before Aquaman became cool. Uh, and they did a lot of work to try to make him look cool. He was very cool with the Justice League, in my opinion. This is really touching news. Ryan O'Neal was buried next to his longtime love, Farrah Fawcett. And if you remember the news back in the day, they had such a long relationship, sometimes torrid affair, but also a wonderful, like, kind of love affair with him staying with her to the end of her life, which was really quite sad. Um, the award seasons are coming is pretty much upon us, so we're at a brace for all that. I know that many people don't care about awards, but sometimes they can be fun to see a lot of the celebrities dress up, and sometimes they make a big farce out of it, and sometimes they provide endless entertainment and folly and such. So yeah, they are coming. We've got the Golden Globes coming really soon on the 7th, this Sunday, which is really great. Critics' Choice Awards, Emmy, the Grammy Awards, Directors Guild of America Awards, BAFTA Film Awards, People's Choice, Screen Actors Guild Awards, Film Independent Spirit Awards, Producers Guild Awards, and of course the coup de grace on March 10th, the Academy Awards. So I'm going to be kind of paying attention to a lot of all that stuff and just seeing all the movies. I'm going to try to see as many movies as I can, but I will most likely miss a whole bunch of them that are involved in these award ceremonies. But it's kind of interesting. You do learn about a lot of films from these award ceremonies that you just don't get from pop culture. So I do enjoy that about the awards. So this is another example of Rotten Tomatoes. The Disney Channel's Zombies 2, which I'm pretty sure I have not seen it yet. I'm sure I'm gonna love it. I doubt if I'll give it 100, but it gets 100 from the critics. 100, and we're supposed to take this seriously. This is the part that really gets me. Even the audience says that this is kind of mediocre. 57%. Decently entertaining, right? And the critics give it 100. Absolutely incredible. I don't know what the explanation is for this. I'd love to hear someone try to reason this out. So this is one of the reasons why I don't use Rotten Tomatoes, and it just shows another example of where um, you ask what is this based on? Who's who's behind this? Who's what's going on? Is this real? Can we really take real criticism or real, like, can we take this seriously? Can we take this site seriously after looking at something like this? Is the question I have. And for me, the answer is no. Obviously, it's obviously no. And Variety, exclusive to Variety, actor William Dafoe to be honored with Walk of Fame star on January 8th. My goodness, I did not know that he didn't have a star yet. And so, yes, of course, he deserves a star immediately. Don't wait until January 8th. Yes, I mean, goodness, this is wonderful. I'm so happy for him. He deserves it. He's had a wonderful career and great contributions to film. And this is some news I heard recently. Deadline has brought this one to me. Band-Aid's festive anthem slammed for its lyrics of racist and patronizing African stereotypes. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if people will adhere to this or would are refusing to listen to this. But um, can can you hear me? Uh, oh gosh, can you let me know if you can hear me or not? Oh, okay. Unicorn Ramping Studio says he can hear me. Okay, okay. Okay, great, 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 great. Okay, I can hear you. Okay, sorry. I was scared there were when William said sound. Okay, you might want to check your sound, William. And Kippy says everything that's good today. Let me know if you can hear me, or it must be from the past. and and Kippy says I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay, okay, great. Um, I was getting really nervous there. Yeah, so Band-Aids, "Feed the World" song that we all love for for Christmas, unfortunately, is one of those songs that has um un- are is patronizing to African stereotypes. Now, let's be very upfront. A lot of things have changed in Africa since the 80s. They're not in the same space that they were, at least not all the countries of Africa, and also it should be like if it was more specified, like where. But a lot of those places have received help and have matured into developing countries, and so it's kind of it has changed. But at a time when people were just discovering and learning about what was going on, Band-Aid was there. Band-Aid was there. So I can understand how people can find this very um, as a reminder of a time in which things weren't great. And this is the whole revisionist history we're talking about. Like, do we get rid of that song because it is, um, you know, it's racist, or was that was really happening? And people were really having a hard time getting water, clean water, and food, and some people are still struggling. Not saying that that is the same for every single African state. There's a lot of incredibly developed countries that are doing very well. They have everything that we have here, and so this is a tough one. This is a very tough one. I think that for a lot of us, this is part of nostalgia. We remember the song, remember what it meant. A lot of people gave to the cause because of the song. They felt like they wanted to help. A lot of people left their homes and went to Africa to try to help. And so it's kind of it's a weird situation. Do you ban a song that was part of your history and part of your a part of the history of the planet, or do you um just forget it? Like, oh, yep, no, no, that story, that never happened. That never happened. I don't know. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. I don't think it should be forgotten. William Blake Hall says, "Sorry, that was on my end." Oh, no problem. Yeah, that happens sometimes. I'm glad it wasn't a catastrophic thing on my end. And Keith E says, "You can't judge the past based on the present feelings." It's what I was trying to say. Yeah, yeah, you can't base. This was done in 1984, when things were dire. Things were dire for a lot of people, and so uh, to discredit someone who was trying to help, to discredit the 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 food that had already been eaten and consumed and helped to make people become strong is sort of a slap in the face. A little bit. A little bit. Keith E says these people are going to want to be judged in 50 years by what they said and did today. Yeah, I mean, we all change. Nobody's saying that. I think everyone is aware that that's a timepiece, golden song of a, a time when things were harder. But I don't think it should be forgotten. I honestly don't. But I could understand why some people are like, wait a minute, if you think that the things that are in this song is accurate today or accurate for all Africans, you're wrong. And I think most people, I hope, are aware that the stuff that was done in the 80s actually helped to make the continent a little bit better. Okay, so I hope we can get there. I hope we can get there to a place of understanding for both the past and the present. And Unicorn Rampant Studio says we should really find out what Lance's view on on that one since it's his favorite song. I know. Where's Lance? Lance, tell us how you feel about that. Um, and Keith E says that's very true. He's mentioned it many times. I know. Where's Lance? He was here just a little while ago. Unicorn says, it's not that tough. I mean, people are just overreacting a little bit. Yes, if you view it through today's lens, it seems out of touch, but we know it's not. So we just have to live with it. Yeah, I mean, it's really like using your intelligence to know, hey, this is a song from 1984. It meant a lot to a lot of people because this was the first time they even heard that there was people who needed help. And it brought a lot of people to aware of and they brought a lot of people to help. And so now slap everybody on the hand. Okay, no. The it just feels wrong. It just feels wrong. It just feels now. If you are a person who don't like this song for personal reasons, and you think it's because yeah, I don't like the way it makes Africans look, I think that's totally fine. You don't have to play it for Christmas. But to think that in 2024, that what is it like? How many years later? 40 years later, that we are still embracing the same ideas of that song. No, it's not the ideas of the song, it's the nostalgia of what that song meant to everybody at that time. That's all. Okay, that's all. Oh. Unicorn Reference Studio says it's the worst thing. The worst thing is really just that that we are naive. Yeah, and Kibi says, it's like the warnings. It's a wonderful life with blank situations, language, and violence. Oh yeah. Like really, that movie? That movie? Like that movie? Wow. And Kibi said, it's a long story, but I was banned from CVS pharmacy for about 3 days because I told the woman to come to my house and count pills, and she said it was a violent threat. Oh, wow. Oh, boy. Yeah, some things, well, Jordan Peele is just switching the story. Jordan Peele is really well known for making these thrillers now, right? He was a comedian that turned into a director that actually could make really good films. And so he made Nope and a few other movies, but then his next one is going to be Clear to Me. That's the title of his next movie, Clear to Me. And he says it could be my favorite movie if I make it right. So looking forward to that. It's really interesting to see his career and how it's changed, and definitely how he's thriving, really thriving um, as a director. So looking forward to that. And everybody got the news that John Williams was gonna retiring. He's not gonna be doing any more. The Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was gonna be his last work, and then now um, he says that he is no longer retiring. He says in a film, if a film came along that I was greatly interested in with a schedule that I could cope with, then I wouldn't want to rule anything out. Everything is possible. Only our limitations are holding us back. What a great bit of news. So I hope that he does find a great story that interests him, that he would love to make the music for. It'd be wonderful to hear more content from John Williams. What a legend. And as everybody probably knows already, poor Steamboat Willie just became into the public domain, and people are going nuts over all the projects you could do with this character. And already there's two in the works that I've heard about. One is um, first look at first look at Steamboat Willie horror movie, which begins filming in spring. The film will follow a sadistic mouse who torments a group of unsuspecting ferry passengers. It's pretty much to the point, pretty much, Steamboat Willie, um, and uh, I'm interested in hearing what people will say about this movie. This isn't one I would probably go see, but definitely I want to know how people take this movie. Sounds like a decent premise. It's to the point. To the point. And then there's another one that says Mickey's Mousetrap, a new Mickey Mouse horror movie releasing in March. I mean, these guys were already ready for it, so they're not playing around. They're not playing around, and there's probably going to be a lot more. But this one, I'm not sure if they're able to actually use the word Mickey Mouse, but they're doing it. But Steamboat Willie, I know, is for sure a name you could use, and a great title for a movie. All right, so we're all done with the slideshow. This is great. So much to cover today, and I'm glad it took less than 3 hours. This is great. And Keith E says, when do the Care Bears go on a a killer campaign? Not sure, but maybe in 2084, maybe. I don't know. Oh, actually, the Care Bears came out earlier than that, so it'll be 2070 something, maybe. I think they get like I'm not sure exactly how the copyright loss goes, but you can appeal it for one time, and then it gets extended. But after that, it you'll need to accept that it's out of copyright writing ability. So I think there's still certain things you can't do with the Mickey Mouse character, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. So um, this is the end of the show, and before the end, I want to just kind of shape up what is coming up next on the channel. Alright. Might have an upload on Thursday. That's from the members. One of the members movies that I've reviewed. I will put it up on Thursday just for funsies to share some of the love for movies. And let's see, on Friday, we will be doing Best Movies from Paramount Pictures Part 2. So that is coming. And then on Saturday, we'll be watching the theatrical cut of Blade Runner 1982. And that would be the one that is an hour and 57 minutes. And that would be a lot of fun. I'm still looking to see what movie or TV show I am going to watch for next Wednesday to talk about. And I'll probably be posting brand new updated schedule like in a few hours possibly, or maybe tomorrow or a few hours. We'll see what I come up with. But yeah, that is what the week is shaping up to look like. And I definitely appreciate all of you guys who have been watching since the beginning. You guys are fantastic. Disney, Keith E says, Disney has dragged the copyright laws again and again and again, over and over and over. Yeah, they have. So they ran out of, of tricks this time for Steamboat Willie. And it's quite interesting. I can't wait to see what the creatives out there are going to do with this. And for anyone who wants to do an interesting IP, there's so many characters out there that are that you can use. So I believe we've got so many different characters that you can play with, and that is under the does not have a copyright that you can actually use. The only thing is that you can't use anything created by a studio that has been specific to that character in the studio. And you could like literally do any of the Disney movies because they're actually grim tales from ages and ages ago that have that Disney has kind of commandeered, if you will, and so they have no rights to those characters, but the changes that they made to those characters. That's why a lot of times they want to change things up, because that changes the rights. And that brings me to this other thing that I really wanted to talk about, was maybe the reason for all of the changes that they've been making to the classic Disney movies is so that way they can protect those under a new copyright as this new version of those characters. So just thinking out loud, All right, guys. I think this is I'm going to call it quits, and I will see you again really soon. I hope that you'll be able to join me next Friday for Paramount Pictures Part 2. Take care, guys.
Retro Nerd Girl, you are clear for takeoff.